like 50, 90 finished very long ago. I'm sure like me your level of anticipation grows. I need to write more songs to improve my portfolio. I never know when I might meet an impresario. Let's have a solo. Questions in my life, this one does vex me so. I need the answers so that I can get on with the show. And so I hope you'll tell me, cause I really need to know. The calendar remains unchecked. Is it FAWM yet? Tonight's stream will mostly be about a 60-year-old man fiddling with dials and getting levels right. Yeah, it's... Rajah says it's all right for me. Wobby, good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Yeah, for an impromptu show that I thought, oh, sod it, let's see what happens. 6 people tuning in is... wonderful. So thank you very much for indulging me. How's it looking? New studio, new desk, new headroom. I mean, good grief, the difference in here is extraordinary. Asitlan, good evening. Yes, this is the new studio. This is completely unrehearsed, completely unprepared. I look like I've been dragged through a hedge backwards because I've not been taking care of myself because I've been obsessed with this thing, getting it up and running. And I recorded some stuff this afternoon, so I think we can safely say that it's up and running and touch wood, touch very, very lovingly reclaim. I mean, look at this finish. Oh, that's where that guitar pick went. It smells amazing in here because this is, as one of my synth nerd friends pointed out, they look like reclaimed scaffolding boards, but they've been very, very tenderly sanded and surfaced, and it's all a bit wonky and it's all a bit characterful, and it's built like a tank. I was standing on it just now to put an FM aerial up because I have been repurposing and resurrecting gear. I'm one of these people who never throws things away because they might come in useful. Martin Greenwood, good evening. Looks lovely, Chris. He says, thank you very much, sir. I'm still getting used to it, and I've been tweaking things and going, oh, that doesn't work there, and oh, that doesn't work there. But good grief, the KRK monitors, when you're not sitting with a foam mattress about 6 inches over your head, the sound in here is completely different. And I'm hearing my mixes that sounded fine 3 weeks ago and thinking, oh, crikey, that's a bit harsh. So you may hear changes in my music from what it used to be like to what it is now. And there is still a lot more liveliness in the room. And if I switch to this view, you can see I've suddenly got loads and loads of spare wall space. What I'm thinking is that I might actually hang the guitars on the wall because it's, well, I mean, you can see it is a bit cramped in here, and I've got some bookshelves coming next week for that wall and to replace the bookshelves that are there because they're well, they're not straight. I built them 30 years ago and I had no idea what I was doing DIY wise. So Riaka Music says, are you going to get some foam? Um, I think I'm just going to use books, which have, because I mean, a lot of the acoustic treatments that you get that don't rely on foam rely on different surfaces to break up reflections. So me being me figured, well, I've got lots of those because I've got an entire room full of books in cardboard boxes that I put in cardboard boxes when I moved out of my last house 25 and a half years ago. So I think it's probably about time I put them on shelves. So I was thinking replace those shelves and put another set of shelves. Well, originally I was going to put a set of shelves there, but that ain't going to work because the desk is enormous. It's over 2 meters wide. Wobby, this is my. Wobby says, I use mess. Riako Music says, I use stuffed animals. See, everybody's got their own signature acoustic treatment, and mine is probably going to be a collection of science fiction novels from the late 1970s and early 1980s. Because, as we've said before, I used to frequent the original and only branch of Forbidden Planet back when it was at number 23 Denmark Street, and Brian Bolland used to draw their illustrations for the paper bags that paperback books used to come in before the days of plastic. And yeah, a lot of them are signed because I used to go and get them signed on Saturday afternoons because that was what we did. De French Doe says, do you like the new lighting with the window? It's amazing. I mean, what you can't see on this image are the absolutely enormous monitors that I have acquired. So I'm going to switch to the new head-first only television gimmick, which is the roving webcam, because now that I've got no bed to fix the Logitech webcam on, I can't do the top-down views. So I thought, well, okay, well, I'll just put it on a tripod. So, hello, little camera on a little tripod, what I can move around and make everybody seasick. So, check those babies out. They are amazing. They're a type of flat panel technology that I was not previously aware of, called in-plane switching, because I forgot the name of it. It's TN something or other. The old 4K monitors that I've got downstairs that I use for video editing that I've had for a couple of years, and they were okay. I mean, they were the cheapest ones that I could find because money, and I plugged these in, and it was like, ugh! And it's like that. The difference in the color gamut. These can actually do HDR10, which television nerds may know is the high dynamic range specification. So it's a much, much wider colour gamut and everything else. And goodness me, they're bright. De French Doe says 24 or 27, they look fine. They're 27s. And I'm really glad that I didn't go for 28s because I'd have been running out of room. But even so, the old Technics loudspeakers that I've got immediately behind, well, to either side of the monitors, I've resurrected my old Denon hi-fi, so I can now not only hear what everything sounds like on the KRKs. I've got a set of Altec Lansing monitors under the bridge, and then I've got a pair of Technics 8-watt, 100-watt speakers as well plugged into the Denon, and I was on the desk putting up an FM aerial because I can now listening to the radio in here, which is brilliant if I'm just sort of thinking and writing and stuff like that. And I've got my notepad here and it's on the main shelf. There's also slidey out desk. And I have pushed the button on a keyboard, which this shelf was built to purposely accommodate. So don't know when it's going to turn up, but when it does, there will be an HFO TV special on my new keyboard. It's a MIDI controller rather than an actual synth workstation, so it's not thousands and thousands of pounds worth of gear, but it's got nice shiny lights on it, so I'm very much looking forward to that. And other than that, I've been buying cables and leads and USB hubs because the desk is so much deeper that the USB cables that went from the keyboard to the back of the table and then down under to the computer, because the computer's now down here in its own bespoke little 19-inch rack mount unit, won't reach anymore. So I need more cables. But yes, here we are. Am I coming across okay? Is the stream glitching? Are you getting buffering? Because one of the issues that I had when I unplugged everything and basically had it in a big pile in another room was that I wasn't sure it was going to work in its new locations. Martin's all good, pal. That's good to know. The PC is about 50% further away from the router downstairs as it was. Riako Music says it seems okay, so good. Well, if it's getting to Belgium, then I'm happy. But yeah, the PC is now 50% further away from the router than it was. Its aerials are pointing in the other direction, so I went downstairs. I was actually twisting the router around and then coming back upstairs and doing a download and going and streaming stuff on YouTube, and YouTube seems to be coming through okay. And if you guys are saying it's okay, that is a great relief off my mind. And I've just been full on all week. I moved everything out on Wednesday, and the desk arrived about 8:30, 9 o'clock on Thursday morning. So I don't know if, well, you've probably already seen the photos on Facebook. The two guys who delivered it said, "Where do you want it then?" And so they literally carried it all up the stairs for me and put it in here. And it comes in 4 bits. The top with the bridge was 1 bit. The 19-inch rack unit down here is a second unit. Shelf's a third, and the leg on the far side is the fourth. And I basically had to just bolt everything together with these honking big industrial scaffolding bolts, all lovely chromed. Riako Music says, "You should probably rest a bit. I hope you didn't injure yourself." I was very, very, very careful because I did not want to knacker my back. So there was much use of wedges and levers and blocks of wood. And I managed to put it together by myself. And I'm still wondering how on earth I managed that. It is a very, very substantial piece of furniture, and but I think I'm sorted now. So as I say, keyboard in for the keyboard shelf, bits of furniture there and behind me, and then I think I'm good to go. DeFresto says, "Yeah, you should rest. It must have been a lot of work to move everything." Oh my goodness, my step counter watch was going. I spent 12 hours doing this on on Thursday, and come 8 o'clock at night, it was like, oh, Chinese takeaway and painkillers and a pint of lager. Ryako Music says, did the delivery man help you take it upstairs? It was the delivery men, two very nice Polish gentlemen. And they said, oh, we weren't expecting it to go upstairs. But they carried it all upstairs for me. And I gave them 20 quid to say thank you, because they weren't charging an awful lot for delivery. And good God, they worked enough getting it up those stairs. There was a lot of breathing going on. But I am chuffed to bits with this. I really am. So big shout out to Guy Mitson of Chunky Studio Furniture, who are based just the other side of Bristol, down in Banwell. So very, very little distance at all, which is why they were here by 9:15 on a Thursday morning, which was really nice. So minimal carbon footprint. And it's all reclaimed wood. It's still quite a strong smell in here, but it will ease off, I'm sure. But different dose. You were asking about the windows. It's been brilliant. I mean, the monitors get in the way, so I don't really see what's going on, if anything, in the flats, which are beyond the back garden. But I can see the roof line, and I can see all the aerials. And there's one flat about 3 doors down that way that has one of these really, really spiffy, loads and loads of horizontal cross pieces, high definition television, high whatever, television aerial. And it's very, very, very popular with the local birds. So far, I have seen 15 starlings on it all at once, and yes, I counted. And when they'd gone off to get their dinner somewhere else in the housing estate, rather than stuffing themselves in the mealworms that I put out for them, they were replaced by half a dozen jackdaws, which live in the chimney 3 doors that way. So I had no idea there was so much bird life flitting backwards and forwards when I was sitting facing the wall. It's very, very different from the old setup. And Martin Greenwood says, is your hoodie a freebie sponsor job? No, I'm afraid I paid for this. They Might Be Giants are one of my favourite bands. I've seen them more than a dozen times. I once saw them twice in a single day, and that was at the Royal Society's Festival of Science at the South Bank Centre. De Fresto says, so can we expect some songs about birds in the future? I think very probably. I could see myself doing a few stream of consciousness numbers about, what's going past the window. And there will probably be an ambient concept album in the works about clouds, because the view of the sky out there is tremendous. Ryako Music says, an album with only bird songs. Here's the thing, right? I don't know if we mentioned Pull Stretch, or I've mentioned Pull Stretch before, which is a free open source software that takes a WAV file or an MP3 or an audio file or whatever you want and slows it down tremendously. And when I first installed Pull Stretch donkeys years ago, this is before, if you've got Audacity, it's actually now built into the latest builds of Audacity, so you don't even need to go off and find it. It's in Audacity. And I've got somewhere, which, oh yeah, it's in one of the boxes in there. I've got a little audio recorder So I recorded sparrows in the back garden and put them through pull stretch and slowed them down like 4,000 times. Do not listen to slowed down sparrows if you want a good night's sleep, because it is the stuff of nightmares. It really does turn them into this howling, strange, eldritch horde. And you think they're just little cute feathery jobs taking over the bird feeder. But oh no, not when they've been slowed down 4,000 times. M. Knights, good evening. Thank you again for dropping in. It is really, I mean, considering I wasn't even planning on doing a show tonight, which is why I look like I've been dragged through a hedge backwards, which is why I had the hat on, because I'm vain. And it's like, yeah, I haven't shaved this week. That's because, yeah, you can tell, can't you? Oh dear, that does not look good on camera. That is not a good look. I do apologise. M. Night says, new setup. Yes, this is what I have been doing for the last... I've lost track of time. What day is it? Sunday. Yeah, basically from last Sunday's show, after the Sunday night show, I started hoiking stuff out of here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it was just moving everything else. Dismantling the bed. I got to the end of it because I was basically working through the instructions for assembling it, but doing them backwards. And I dismantled the whole thing and got the mattress downstairs, and all the bits are in the conservatory, and the bed's on free cycle. So if you're on Dursley's free cycle group, the beds should be up there. I got to the front page of the instructions for assembling the bed, and it said, do not attempt to assemble the bed by yourself. This is a two-man job. Okay, great. As I'm sure putting the desk together was, but no. So, yeah, various people saying about sparrows you want to hear what sparrows sound like slowed down. Okay, let's and yeah, I've now got 4K monitors in here. I have a new wallpaper. Right, so now if I open back garden sparrows, which is very quiet, so I think we'll get rid of that bit for the moment, because that's just me, and we'll do select all, and then we'll normalize it so that okay, and then we'll just pull stretch it. Stretch factor, I think we'll go for about 80 at the moment. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute while it does this. There was a Mythbusters where Noaja says there was a Mythbusters where they tested some guys claimed to be able to break glass because of it. Yes, if you hit the resonant frequency of a wine glass, you can shatter it. I've actually been to a physics party, and that was somebody's party trick, was breaking a wine glass. Right, do you want to hear what howling sparrows sound like? Here we go. Riaka Music says, I need to try that glass thing. Yeah, you'd nail it. I'm sure you would. This isn't particularly what I was expecting it to do. dipping forward a bit. Yeah, this is not the noise that I was expecting. Let me undo that. The birds actually sound like this. Atitland66 says wrong stretch factor. Yeah, I think what it's doing is it's stretching it, but the way I'd got it done was, did I just slow it down rather than stretch it? Let's try this. Knight says, hit a glass with some kind of stick and measure the frequency of it, then play a sine wave at the same frequency through a powerful speaker directly at the glass. Yep, and in fact, it wasn't a party. I remember where it was now. It was the Latitude Festival, and it was the literature tent. And Robin Ince had got one of his friends along who happened to be an opera singer, and she did it with a wine glass on the stage at the Latitude Festival. Right, let's try this. Does this sound anything? That's closer. So I'm going to try that. What you used to be able to do, help me out, Audacity people. I thought you could actually pick. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna. Maybe it was sliding stretch. Yes, this is what I used last time. So the final tempo change and final pitch shift was, yeah, in fact, that wasn't how I did it. I remember how I did it now. It was effect, sliding stretch, with some reverb and delays, says De French Doge, and a heavy sound, guitars and or drums. It can be a nice deathcore intro. I like your thinking. Atitland66 says that's getting into horror film ambience territory. Oh, very much so. When I bought the new interface, I got a bunch of free stuff or bundled stuff with it from Native Instruments, and it included a few things on not Contact, Reactor, which I've had the interface for a good month now, and I'd never played with, and I started playing with those yesterday when I was testing out the speakers and everything, and I could be getting some interesting sounds out of that. Right, let's try this. So that's brought them down a bit. I think we need to be a bit more savage. So what did you do this evening, folks? Oh, we listened to Chris stretching Birdsong down so that it sounded really, really weird. I was like, oh, right, okay. Minus 50. No, I can't remember how the hell I did it, unless you have to do an initial pitch shift as well. Oh, nice. Says being in the sound design community. There we go. So I think what I basically did was this, 2 or 3 iterations. So let's do 2 or 3 iterations and then hear what we come up with. And if it doesn't sound like I remember it sounding, I'm just going to give it up as a bad job, and I will do my research and rehearse. And on Thursday, I'll give you eldritch noises. Noaja says, no one I know should raise an eyebrow if I described my evening as such. There you go. Was it the Australian rocket testing range that was called Sliding Spring? I think it was, wasn't it? I always thought that was a really poetic name for somewhere that they basically just fired rockets into the air. They are used to pretty odd hobbies in my circle, says Noirjar. Record music says lol. Oh, this is really making it. Well, all right, maybe we won't do 3 iterations. We'll just do 2 and see what this sounds like. Because the sound design with the stuff that I've got in here now is something that I kind of got into after layering synths and things. Because back in I was looking at some of my earlier mixes, and there's like 3 tracks. There's like me singing, yeah, and synth and guitar, and these days I'll have 8 synth lines in a track with no problem at all. Right, let's give it a go. Let's see what we've ended up with. Right, imagine that with loads of reverb and echo. I think we've got to push it. We've got to push it for a 3rd iteration, don't you think? M. Knight says 2 more. All right then, you're on. Really, I should add a bit of reverb to it, but we'll do that afterwards. But I'm definitely saving this because I can feel it. I can feel, like you say, a good death metal, doomcore, grindcore, something industrial with just very, very, very eldritch noises happening in it. I'm just thinking I'm a bit quiet. I'll just turn myself up a bit. There we go. Of course, every time I'm running this, I'm effectively doubling the length of the audio file. So I guess it's not surprising that it is taking progressively longer every time that we run it. So here we go, another 2. Raja says, sounds kind of like Wild Dogs. I live just down the road from the Wildfowl and Wetlands Trust headquarters at Slimbridge, which is on the banks of the River Severn, and it's a huge nature reserve that is a stopping off point for hundreds, if not thousands, of winter migrants, particularly geese. And I was thinking that actually sounds very much like the marshes and the mudflats at Slimbridge on a busy day at this time of year. They had a merlin and a peregrine falcon lurking around on Slimbridge. I've followed Slimbridge _sightings on Twitter, who always report on what's going on. Naja is discussing some of the people in her soul circle and their hobbies. Right, here we go. So let's see what we've ended up with. See what I mean? French Dose says it sounds like a human speaking underwater. Let's hear what the noisy bits are, shall we? Brown's underwater mum. Oh, Mrs. Crabapple, the teacher. She was a saxophone, wasn't she? Was it Mrs. Crabapple, or am I thinking of The Simpsons? Did they actually name the teacher in Peanuts? These are the questions that we need answering on HFO television. Right, what's this bit? Perfect Halloween background ambience, isn't it? Ryako Music says Miss Crabapple is from The Simpsons. Oh, I thought she was. Ashitland66 says that bit's quite musical. Sampled it and make an organ tone. Roger says I guess Apple bought all the Peanuts holiday specials. Oh dear. Yeah, I like that booming resonance. Don't know what it was, but I like it. It could be a wood pigeon, actually. And let's skip ahead because there's just 5 3/4 minutes of this now. Let's try this bit. Oh, we've got beats and resonances. Greenwood says deep space drone territory now. I like your thinking, sir. Atitlan66 says hidden track material just stick on the end of your sleep album. Raja says, but it does have a horror movie vibe. Yeah, there's something interesting going to happen now. Or not. Yeah, I'm saving this. This definitely needs to go in a track. So this is something. Ambient Nightmares, Ryako Music says. This, yeah, very definitely. So as I said, so not even pull stretch. So this is the sliding stretch tool in Audacity. So let me save this. We'll export that as a WAV, although the original was probably. And oh, we're already in the geometry of sleep. So there we go. Ambient Nightmares. It is. Save. There we go. So I'm feeding back a bit, so I'll just turn my mic right. Are you hearing me all right? Am I a bit quiet? I've got the levels peaking round about -10 looking at that, but don't need that. Don't need that. Brilliant. No, thank you. There we go. So this is what we do on a Sunday night. We make disturbing noises out of back garden sparrows. I've also got some wood pigeons. I have always loved recording stuff, even when I was a kid. When I was about 13, I bought, or I think I got for my birthday, but I had to pay for quite a lot of it. A cassette recorder, a Decca Legato cassette recorder with a little tiny dynamic microphone, and I used that to record all sorts of stuff. And it's probably still on. I found a cassette tape of me and my friend Paul, who I think we must have been in our early teens. My voice hadn't broken, and I found the cassette of the two of us, and there's me freaking him out because I'd put batteries in it, and I'd made a big show of plugging it in and recording him, and then I pulled the plug out the wall and it kept on recording. I have got that somewhere, but I'm just scrolling at the moment to try and find where that might be. And yeah, so I've probably played you this before, and it's on my website, but living in a little tiny village in the country means that you get some really weird noises coming from your back garden late at night. And a few years ago, I heard this and thought, WTF? I went out with a torch. Any ideas? Yeah, Martin Greenwood has got it. It's basically an amorous hedgehog chasing another amorous hedgehog around my bird table at about 11 o'clock at night. And that huffing noise is the noise that amorous hedgehogs make when they are in the mood for love. What else have we got here? I love doing. Oh, there it is. This is one of the best ones that I got from my wild sound. Now this has potential for a track, I think. Who needs Pink Floyd when you can just record this in your back garden? I was rather pleased with that one. But Martin Greenwood says, late night animal porn, lol. Yeah, that was a Royal Navy Sea King. And you don't often see Sea Kings round here, but I was just standing in the back garden with a microphone. Ooh! As you do when you've got a microphone. Was it 2 turntables and microphone? I haven't got a turntable in here yet. There is a phono input on the big knob. Maybe I should avail myself of that. See, I've got. Let's go back to. I won't make you seasick this time, I promise. So. Involuntary drums, because I've got Ableton running at the moment. So if there you go. So I've got a phono input there, and that picture quality is rubbish. It really is. I don't know what it looks Well, I mean, if I'm thinking it's rubbish and I'm basically about 2 feet from the source, it must look pretty naff to you. But this is the joys of uh, just Logitech webcam. I know Martin and Adrian and a few of the other guys have been talking a lot about sourcing proper cameras for streaming, and the holy grail for streamers at the moment is the Logitech C920. Is it, Martin? The one that basically just disappeared and people were selling them on eBay for like 200 quid. But the Zoom, the 922, says Martin, I think. Excellent. Yeah, I mean, lovely bit of kit, but I really am very pleased with the picture quality that I get from the Zoom Q2N there. Ryaka Music says, "Oh, I think I have that one." Martin Greenwood says, £100. So that it looks like the supply chain has started to recover from being absolutely clobbered when the pandemic hit. The Q2N, that's only streaming at 720p, but the difference in quality from that to the Zoom Q8, which is running the same webcam software and the same resolution, allegedly, and the backup cam that I've got over there in the stream that I'm using it at the moment, it's actually a 1080p webcam, but you're only getting it at 720p because that's kind of what I limit this. Well, apart from anything else, it's the lowest common denominator of any of the cameras in here is 720p. So it's like, well, I may as well just stick at 720p. But it also takes a lot of the load off the bandwidth that I'm using because, oh boy, using the little, this thing right here, it's a 4K camcorder that just runs on a couple of AA batteries, and lovely though it is, I've got a 128 gigabyte micro SD memory card in that, and if I record in 4K it runs out in about 2.5 minutes. I was like, okay. Martin Greenwood says that one is the best quality I'm seeing. Wobby says, yep, I was just going to say that. This is the camera. This is the camera that stops working when it gets hot. So it shouldn't do where it is now because it's clamped to the bookcase, but that was 20 quid on Amazon. And that was also the camera that there's one webcam, one stream archive in the archive, and it sounds like it was recorded underwater. It sounds as bad as that first pass on the sparrows, and that was thanks entirely to the fact that when I plugged it into the system, OBS went, "Oh, do you want to use that as your audio input?" And the microphone really doesn't work. So, yeah, cheap but effective. And if you guys are saying it's that good, and looking at the screen here, I mean, it's actually talking to my system at 1080p. Maybe I'll get another one of those. Who knows? Just have to make sure that it doesn't get too hot in here. It's 20 degrees in here, which, when you consider it was 36 degrees in here back in the day when I was under the bed. So the other thing is I can now reach the windows again rather than having to climb over the stack of synthesizers, and that should mean that I can breathe more easily in here. But I'm definitely full of a cold at the moment, and very run down. And Ashland says white balance looks better on that one. Yeah, I know, right? It's absolutely driving me batty because I cannot get, well, I mean, look at the difference if I put all four together. You know, the Q2 is a bit sort of orangey. That's a really flattering picture of my hand. The Logitech's actually not a bad picture when it's close up. But the Zoom Q8, if it wasn't for the fact that the Zoom that's using all the keyboards at the moment, that one, all the audio that you're hearing is coming in through the Zoom Q8. So it's a kludge that I discovered that means that I don't get latency in piping stuff out of Ableton into OBS. Martin Greenwood says this view is very grainy. I can actually, I mean, I don't know if you look at the keys on this, on the Juno, I can actually see aliasing on that, and that's nuts. It shouldn't be that bad. So Control S is the full screen. Yeah, it's full screen. That really surprises me, but Martin Greenwood says no, the Q2 is grainy. The Q2 I think is using one of its auto settings, but it does actually have a number of different settings for like concerts and low lights and stuff like that. And I haven't, well, because I unplugged it and it forgot all its settings and everything else, I need to set it up. Yeah, it is quite grainy, isn't it? Have I got any filters on that? See, now we're into the no, I don't think I've got any filters. Colour correction I've got running on it, and sharpens on it. I wonder if I turn the sharpen off, if I just delete that. No, it's still a bit fuzzy. I love the fact that it was a term that I learnt back in the day when I actually used to work in video at Bletchley Park, and I got sent on video production courses and used to help the main guy in the edit suite by loading the Betacam SP players and everything. Oh, a technology that has disappeared because it's all gone digital now. And one of the first times we saw digital video, it was like, oh, it's all fizzy. It's strange. And that became known as mosquito noise, which is a lovely phrase that it is absolutely what it is, because it's all sort of horrible sort of strange fizziness. And I've sent DVDs back when the noise level on the mastering, there's a couple of DVDs, I won't name them, I won't embarrass the producers, but there are a couple of commercially available DVDs of really good films, and the encoding on them is appalling. And there are forums and websites online where people go and discuss and complain about how bad the encoding is. And there is a film by a very famous director, which is a very favourite film of mine, and I've not bought the 4K release of it because people have gone, it's worse than the Blu-ray. It's really, really badly done. So I'll stick with the Blu-ray version of that film until they remaster it. I'm rambling, aren't I? I'm very tired. I've been going an hour, which is like, yeah, guys, I'll just do this for 5 minutes and we'll have a test, and then I'll do a proper show on what day is it? Yes, on Thursday. So I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to have a beer, I think, and then I'm just going to soak in the bath for a couple of hours and gently steam until I feel like a human being again. Ryaka Music says, lol. Yeah, I think we're good to go on here. Do you guys think we're good to go on here? I think we're good to go. So I will be back on Thursday with the Twitch live stream number 24. And yes, it will be a Halloween live stream. And yes, cosplay will be involved. So do not miss the opportunity to see me make a complete fool of myself. But I will have given myself a quick run over with the number one and had a shave by the time Thursday comes around. So thank you all for hanging out with me on this sort of impromptu, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm making it up as I go along type thing. And hope you like the new look for the show. Of course, the thing is now that I've got to redo all the opening titles. Or shall we leave the opening titles as a little bit of nostalgia for those days when working in here carried the risk of serious head injuries? Who knows? Thank you all, wherever you are. Wear a damn mask. Look after each other. Stay safe. Stay well. And stay sane. And as the French dose says, enjoy your beer. Peace, good night, says M. Nights. And with that, I'll sign off. I'll see you guys all on Thursday.